So good morning, class. I'm just going to show you how to make puff pastry jam tarts using Just Roll, the instant puff pastry. So you can buy it in two ways. You can buy it in frozen form, or you can find it beside the butter in ambient temperature. So I'm just going to unbox it here now. And you can see you've got a sheet and a sheet, and they're perfectly wrapped. So I'm going to leave one to one side, and I'm just going to open up this guy. And I'll just roll it out. You can see it there, it's completely rolled up in greaseproof paper. So I'm not going to bake on that paper because it's greaseproof, but I just want to unroll it gently without breaking the pastry. Okay. See, it's a little bit stiff coming out. So I'm just going to present it downwards. Okay. So I'm just going to flatten it out, and you can see it there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide it in two using my dividers, but you can measure it as well. So I'm just going to mark the middle with this guy here. See there? And I'll just mark it one more time there. So this line here is where I'm going to cut, and that will be the center. So using a French knife, I'm just going to cut it and cut it. Easy so far. So I'm going to get the width. Okay, so it's width. I'll measure it in a second, and what we're going to do is we're going to cut them the same width as they are the length. So I'm going to divide it down. We're going to get 6 from one sheet. So again, I'm just going to cut. I'm going to cut. I can see that they pop apart pretty readily, so that's good. Now the next thing we need to have some water. So I just have a little spray gun. It's just water spray, and I'm just going to spray to make the pastry a little bit damp. But what you can do is you can brush with pastry just along the edges here. And I have some red jam then in a piping bag. So I'm just going to open up the piping bag, and I'm going to pipe into the center. Okay, just a little bit of red jam into the center there. So you don't want to put too much. If you put too much, it's only going to spill out. And then very simply, we're just going to fold it over like that, okay? And I'm going to use gentle pressure just to seal the edge. I'm going to do the same here. Literally just fold it over. Number 3, do the same. So you can see this was the pastry at the end. It has torn a little bit, but that's okay. This is the next one. I'm just going to fold it over. And I can crimp them a little bit more once I have the basic fold done. So it's important, as I said, that you don't put too much filling in them, because if you do, it's only going to leak out when you bake them. It's going to boil out, and you're not going to be able to get that seal around the edge. So just taking a little bit of attention there, just do a little bit of pressure with your thumb or a finger. And just make sure that it's completely sealed. So we'll leave that guy there. We'll do the same with number 2. Number 2 is coming up. 3. And the important thing as well, when we have them formed and made, is we need to make an escape hole for the steam, so that when they're baking, that the steam will escape as the jam boils out through the little hole. So we're going to do that any second now. So this is number 5. You can see I'm just pressing gently down. And this is the last one. So I'm just going to seal that. You can actually see the jam starting to peep out through this guy here, just where the pastry is a little bit damaged. So I'm just using the French knife. I'm just going to make 2 little holes. I'm going to rest the pastry for a half an hour before I put it into the oven. So using the second sheet of just rolled pastry, I've opened it out again. I'm just going to make some palmiers from this. So I'm just going to cover this with sugar on both sides. So here's the first one. I'm just rubbing the sugar in by hand. I'm going to roll it in with the rolling pin. Then I'm going to flip it. I'm going to do the same. Just put a nice bit of sugar on it. And I rub the sugar on by hand first because it just makes it easier for it to cover the pastry pretty even. And then just roll that up, roll it into it with the rolling pin so that you can see all the pastry is covered with the nice sugar crystals. Okay, so we're going to fold it in half to get the center point. Okay, so I've made a seam. That's the center point here, and then again we're going to fold these each in to get a center point. So we're going to fold this to here. Okay, I'm going to fold this guy to here, and then we're going to fold this into the original center point. We should have 3 layers. There we go. We're just going to allow a little gap. You see that gap there? That's important because that's going to allow the palmiers to expand. So I've just added a little bit more sugar, and I'm going to roll the sugar into the pastry. And then I'm just going to fold that over and press it down tight. And the important thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to wrap that up using the silicone paper sheet. And I'll put it into the freezer for a half an hour. So I've just frozen the pastry for about 15-20 minutes to stiffen it up a little bit. So again, I'm just going to use dividers. Or another way you can do this is just to divide it evenly. So I'm going to put my finger along the end of my knife. I'm just going to make a mark in the center. See there? So I know my middle part is here, roughly. And I'm just going to cut straight down. And then I'm going to put the 2 together so you can see that they're exactly the same length. So I'm going to do the same again. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to mark. I'm going to go here and mark. I'm just going to chop this guy down. And then visually, I'm going to just divide those into 3 into thirds, okay? So you can just mark them with the knife, roughly, thirds. Same here. Same here. And then we just cut nice and straight. Use a sharp French knife. Just a rocking motion on the pastry. Then we turn them up. You can just see the shape there of the palmier in them. So from this I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 12 little palmiers, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay them out on the tray. So they're approximately 30 mils wide, each of them. So I'm just going to put them there, spread them out on the tray, so we can allow for expansion. They're very pretty and very easy to make. And after cutting, you need to rest them for about a half an hour before you put them into an oven. So this little palmier is made from the just rolled frozen puff pastry. So my apple turnovers have been resting for about a half an hour. So the final thing I'm going to do before I bake them is I'm just going to egg wash them. Okay, and I'm going to just leave that egg wash just to settle on it for about 5 or 6 minutes. And then I'll egg wash them a second time, and I'm going to dip them into sugar just before I put them into the oven, so you get a nice sugary coating on the outside. Okay. So that's the first layer of egg wash going on, and we're just going to leave that, as I said, to soak in there for about 10-15 minutes, and we'll give it a second egg wash, and then I'm going to dip them into this sugar here just so that it coats the outside of them. So final time, I'm just going to give the jam tarts a second egg wash. And then I'm going to pick them up, and I'll just turn this sideways so you can see what I'm doing. I just have sugar in a basin here. I'm just going to dip them in and press them into sugar. It's important you do this just before they go into the oven, otherwise the sugar dissolves. So I'm just pressing those down into the sugar. So we're going to have a nice even coat of sugar throughout the top surface. So I'm going to put those into the oven at 180 to 190 degrees for approximately 20 minutes, and we'll see how they come out.